Have you ever set your alarm for 5 a.m. with a powerful intention in your mind, telling yourself, "This time I will change my life," only to wake up hours later, confused, tired, already behind the day before it even begins? Maybe you've tried again and again, watching videos, reading about discipline, hearing that successful people wake up early, and for a short moment you feel inspired. But then reality takes over. The alarm rings and your hand automatically hits snooze. And just like that, another morning is gone. You tell yourself, "I'm not a morning person," or "I just need more sleep," or "I'll start tomorrow." But what if tomorrow has already been repeating itself for years? What if the problem isn't motivation, but the way you are using the quietest hours of your life? Because somewhere between sleep and distraction, your future is either being built or slowly delayed. This is the story of a man named Ethan, and it begins in a place where hope had slowly started to disappear. Ethan was 29 years old, living in a crowded industrial city where life moved fast, but his life didn't move at all. He worked in a warehouse job, lifting boxes, checking inventory, repeating the same tasks every single day. His shift started in the afternoon and ended late at night, which meant his mornings were always short, heavy, and tired, or sometimes completely wasted. When he came home at night, the world outside was silent, but his mind was not. Because silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes it just means exhaustion.
He lived in a small rented room, barely big enough for a bed, a chair, and a weak light bulb that flickered like it was tired too. Every day followed the same cycle. Sleep late, wake up tired, scroll his phone for a while, rush to work, come back, repeat. It wasn't a dramatic failure, it was something worse. It was stuckness, the kind where nothing is collapsing, but nothing is building either. Ethan had once dreamed of doing something meaningful, maybe starting a business, maybe learning a skill, maybe escaping the cycle he was born into. But dreams don't survive long in exhaustion. They slowly fade into someday, and someday rarely arrives. What hurt him most wasn't poverty, it was awareness, because he could see other lives happening around him. On rare mornings when he was awake early, he would see people dressed neatly, walking with purpose, carrying bags, heading somewhere important.
And he would think, "Why not me?" But there was never a clear answer, only silence. One morning, everything shifted, not because something big happened, but because something small broke the pattern. Ethan missed his usual bus after a long night shift and found himself sitting alone at a quiet stop as the sky slowly turned from dark to gray. He was exhausted, half asleep, waiting. And that's when he noticed a man sitting nearby, calm, composed, reading a book, as if time didn't control him at all. There was something unusual about him. Not rich looking, not flashy, but stable, grounded, present. Like he wasn't chasing life, he was already inside it. Curiosity got the better of Ethan, and he asked, "Why are you awake this early?" The man looked up slowly, smiled, and said something that didn't sound impressive at first, but landed deep. "Because this is the only time the world is quiet enough for me to build my life." Ethan frowned slightly, not convinced. The man continued, "Most people react to their day. They wake up late, rush into noise, and spend the rest of the day catching up. But a few people, a very few, create their day before the world wakes up." Ethan laughed a little, tiredly, and said, "But I work nights. I can't just wake up early like that." The man nodded calmly, as if he had heard that excuse 1,000 times before. Then he said something simple, but sharp. "Then you are living your life backwards, awake when you should rest, and asleep when you could build." That sentence didn't feel motivational. It felt uncomfortable, like someone had pointed out something he had been avoiding for years. Before leaving, the man added, "If you ever want to change your life, don't start with your job, don't start with money, Start with your mornings. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep properly, not because he was excited, but because his mind wouldn't let him ignore what he had heard. Start with your mornings kept repeating like a quiet warning. For the first time in a long time, he questioned his routine. Honestly, what if he really was wasting his best chance every day without realizing it? The next morning, something unusual happened. He set his alarm for 5 a.m., and when it rang, he didn't immediately turn it off. He stared at it for a few seconds, fighting himself. Then finally, he sat up. It wasn't magical. It wasn't easy. It felt wrong, unnatural, like his body was protesting, but he stayed awake. The first week was brutal. Every morning felt like a war between discipline and exhaustion.
His mind constantly negotiated. Just one more hour. You can start tomorrow. This doesn't matter anyway. But he forced himself to stay up. He didn't try to do anything complicated at first, just simple structure. In the first hour, he started watching basic skill tutorials on his phone. Things like computer basics, digital tools, simple learning. Not because he fully understood them, but because he needed direction. In the second hour, he would walk outside, slowly, thinking, observing, planning without pressure. For the first time in years, his mornings weren't reactive, they were intentional. At first, nothing changed externally. No money, no promotion, no instant reward. But internally, something started shifting. Around the third week, his alarm rang at 5 a.m., and for the first time, he woke up before it. Not because he had to, but because his body had adapted. Something even more important happened. His mind stopped resisting as strongly.
The same morning routine that once felt painful now felt familiar. He began to understand small things consistently. His focus improved. His thinking became clearer. His decisions less emotional. Months passed, slowly, quietly. No dramatic transformation, no sudden success story, just repetition, discipline, and time. Then one day, something small happened at work. He used what he had been learning in the morning to organize warehouse data more efficiently. Nothing fancy, just better structure, better clarity. His supervisor noticed, then the manager noticed, and for the first time, Ethan heard words he had never expected. "You should move into the office team." It didn't feel real at first, but it was. His income increased, his responsibilities changed, and more importantly, his identity shifted. He wasn't just someone surviving nights anymore. He was someone building mornings. A year later, his life was not perfect, but it was different in a way that mattered. Stable, improving, forward-moving.
He still woke up at 5 a.m., not because someone told him to, but because that time had become sacred, the only part of the day where he was not reacting to life, but shaping it. And here is the truth Ethan understood deeply by then. Success was never about one big moment. It was about what you do when nobody is watching, especially in the morning. Because between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m., there is no noise, no pressure, no distraction, only choice. And that choice, repeated daily, becomes identity. So the real question is not whether waking up early changes your life. The question is, what are you doing with the hours you already have? And are they building the future you keep thinking about, or silently delaying it?